The 2024 Land Cruiser comes in 1958 Land Cruiser and first release grades, with the base cost for the 1958 model prodded at the mid-$50,000 territory. Each Land Cruiser includes a turbocharged 2.4-liter 4-chamber crossbreed powertrain that conveys 326 pull and 465 pound-feet of force. All kinds of attention have full-time four-wheel drive with locking focus and back differentials, a disengaging front enemy of roll bar, and 33-inch tires are likewise accessible. Toyota officially pulled the wraps off the new 2024 Land Cruiser today, in a resurrection that was not really shocking considering the getting through cachet this nameplate appreciates across the world. Presently rough terrain lovers with sights set on backwoods travel will actually want to stir things up around town in another Land Cruiser as opposed to hanging tight ears at the cost of a pre-owned high-mileage Land Cruiser to fall reachable. It is not out of the ordinary that Toyota wouldn't leave this famous vehicle. All things considered, the automaker got down on a period and utilized it to design a total separation from the Land Cruiser's inexorably costly and swollen shopping center cruiser direction. This attractive 4x4 fan has remained dedicated to the first idea. However, Toyota put forth a decided attempt to return this rough terrain SUV to a more standard cost. Every one of the 2024 Land Cruisers will be controlled by a similar 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-chamber half-and-half I-Force Max powertrain and 8-speed transmission that self-discipline, the high finish of the Tacoma Model Reach, most quite the TRD Ace. This powertrain's result of 326 joint drive addresses a plunge underneath the old 5.7-liter V8's 381 horses, yet its strong consolidated force of 465 pound-feet betters the old model's 401 pound-feet where it checks street, particularly since the I-Force produces top force at only 1,700 revolutions per minute rather than 3,600 fires up. An incorporated tow hitch is standard, however this more modest and less strong Land Cruiser's tow rating drops from the earlier model's £8,100 to a still good £6,000. Toyota won't deliver efficiency gauges until in the not-so-distant future, however we expect gigantic increments over the 2021's horrifying 14 miles per gallon joined. The reformulated crossbreed cruiser ought to likewise helpfully clobber the bigger LX600's 19 miles per gallon consolidated. The utilization of this motor is a main justification for why the Land Cruiser is totally a 5-traveler machine. The crossbreed framework's 1.87 kWh nickel metal hydride battery sits on the hub where a third column would go, and it even makes a heat floor that is somewhat higher than we like to see. In any case, the freight region is voluminous, and we value how the mixture arrangement empowers the fitment of a standard 2,400-watt inverter and power conveyance framework. In the Toyota Nerd Talk that Land Cruiser fans love, the new Land Cruiser is in fact a 250 series. It's not close as large as the unadulterated 300 Lexus LX600, however it is more current than the 200 series cruiser that left the scene in 2021. Each of the three of these offer a 112.2-inch wheelbase, however the new tender-loving care is almost 7 inches more limited than the LX from nose to tail. Contrasted with the old 200, the new model offers a general width of 78.0 inches, stands just 0.8 inch more limited, and is simply 1.2 inches stubbier front to back. All things considered, the distinctions seem tremendous, all things considered, in light of the fact that the 2024 Land Cruiser has a restricted body, grille, and nursery with noticeable bumper flares that cover a similarly expansive track. A plainly skinnier vehicle seems as though it has been modded to give it a harder position. Regardless of the smaller body, the facilities feel more liberal than the current 4Runner. Inside aspects are not yet accessible, yet the vehicle feels right-sized. That is on the grounds that this more modest Land Cruiser is as yet not generally so little as the ongoing Toyota 4Runner, which actually has a spot to reside in the pecking order in its typical spot underneath this new Land Cruiser. Toyota is mum about any new 4Runner particulars, but to say it's staying put. We think the new 4Runner, when it shows up, will opening in at a lower sticker cost by utilizing the Tacoma's part-time four-wheel drive framework and its space and mid-level motor contributions. An elite presentation TRD Star will most likely proceed, as that would recognize it from the more overland-centered Land Cruiser. Toyota isn't unveiling all relevant information, however the beginning cost will be in the mid-$50,000 territory. Contrast that with the $87,030 least expensive section for the ended 2021 Land Cruiser, and you can see the reason why Toyota anticipates that deals should increment essentially over the pitiful 3,000 to 4,000 units each year they commonly moved over the course of the last 10 years. They're not saying how much deals will increment, but rather we find it telling that they intend to sell each of the 5,000 instances of the main release, a number they haven't hit in a whole year beginning around 2004, inside the initial 3 months. After those are constructed, creation will move to the more affordable base Land Cruiser 1958 and the just-named Land Cruiser variation. To cut the cost down, the new cruiser rides on a variant of Toyota's new worldwide TNGA-F truck stage, a particular workhorse that supports Tundras, Sequoias, and, surprisingly, the new Tacoma. It's the establishment for the world market 300 series Land Cruiser, and under another abbreviation it shows up under the Lexus LX600 and the impending Lexus GX 550. It likewise helps that the new model is completely a 5-traveler machine, which recovers cost by killing the need to design third-line environment circulation ducting, traveler controls, and different facilities. The 2024 Cruiser follows a similar full-time four-wheel drive diagram as the earlier model. It has a 2-speed move case with a torsion-focused differential that permits consistent all-wheel drive procedure on dry asphalt. The middle differential consequently locks when the exchange case is moved into low reach, or the driver can decide to secure it in high reach. All new Land Cruisers likewise have press-button lock-back differentials, a creep control framework, and downhill help control. The essential suspension idea is equivalent to previously, despite the fact that the change to TNGA-F design brought about some detail adjustments. This cruiser actually rides on double control arm-free front suspension and a strong back pivot that is situated by 4 following connections and a panhard pole. Straightforward twin-tube dampers are utilized all over, yet the purported KDSS arrangement of consequently disengaging front and back enemy of roll bars is no more. The new Lexus GX 550 gets another EKDSS development of the idea, however the 2024 Land Cruiser shuns that for the sake of cost control.